set up your 3-section adventure poles. The first thing to notice about the poles is that on the core grip handles, we have a large R and a large L. And those are obviously designating the right and the left handle. So let's set them up one at a time. So take the handle and put it out in front of you and turn the bottom section of the pole here to the left, 3, 4, 5 rotations, and then pull it out and you'll see numbers emerging. Now if you see centimeters and you're not a centimeters person, don't worry, just roll the pole over and you'll see inches on the other side. And what you're looking for is your height. So if you're 5'4" like me, look for 5'4", but if you're a beginner, we want to make the pole just a little bit shorter to make the poles just a little more manageable. So go down 2 inches. So if you're 5'4", for example, go down to 5'2". And then look here for the lock and unlock arrows. And we want to now hold on to the top section of the pole and turn the bottom section in the direction of lock. And do that nice and snugly. Now you're going to anchor your hand on the ferrule, the bottom ferrule here, and the bottom section of the pole. And we're going to turn the top section to the right because we have one more place we have to adjust the poles here. So now we're going to lengthen the pole from the top this way. And again, we're looking for our height. I'm going to roll over to inches. I'm 5'4", I'm going to wiggle down until 5'2" is just peeking out underneath the black ferrule here. Here's the lock and unlock arrow. I'm going to turn this section here in the direction of lock. I'm going to hold on to the top and turn the bottom section until it is snug. When I hold on to the top with the R up at the top, I look down and I see that the boot tip right now is pointing straight ahead. I really want the boot tips as if they're walking backwards. So I'm just going to turn it around. It's a little tough to do when they're brand new. So just use a little muscle, point it to the back. And then this pole is ready to go. And so let's do the second pole as well. So the same way we did the first pole, we're going to put the handle out the front, turn the bottom part of the pole to the left. And here I am, I'm looking for 5'4", my height. Then I'm going to wiggle down to 5'2" and turn this bottom section in the direction of the lock arrow. Just takes 4 or 5 little turns. Now I'm going to anchor my bottom hand on the bottom section and this bottom ferrule. We have 2 ferrules here, don't we? And I'm going to turn the top section to the right. So now I've loosened the top section. I'm going to slide this up and once again look for my height. 5'4", I wiggle down to 5'2". Here's another lock and unlock arrow up at the top. I'm going to turn this section towards lock until it's snug. And on this pole I also need the boot tip, of course, pointing to the back as if it's walking backwards. So this is my left pole. I'm going to use my hand. I'm going to put this hand here, anchor down here, and turn this until it points to the back. And now that pole is all set up and ready to go. So I have my 2 poles. I'm holding on with the L and the R in the appropriate hands, and both boot tips facing to the back. Now you might notice that there are mud baskets on the adventure poles. Here's the mud basket here. This is really fantastic if you're walking in mud and you're possibly the poles might sink down deep into the mud. This will stop that from happening. Or also if you're walking on a really rocky surface and the poles might be slipping and sliding down into the rocks. This will stop that from happening. The boot tip here is really fantastic for shock absorption, and it's really used on asphalt and on sidewalks. When you're walking on a softer surface like a trail or sand, snow, or even on ice, we take off the boot tip. We just give it a good tug. And underneath we have a carbide tip. So this is for soft surfaces. Really, we're always looking for traction. So you can't really go wrong. Just use the carbide tip or use the boot tip here, whatever gives you best traction depending on the surface.